Hey everybody, this is Captain RL with Bottom Fishing 24/7, and today I wanted to show you the rods and reels that I use mostly for bottom fishing. We've talked about slow pitch and all that, but I do bait fish a lot. So I mean, I'd rather slow pitch, but some days, it is what it is. I know a lot of guys are dedicated to jigging only. We do that a lot, but I also want to be prepared for whatever else might be happening. So my favorites are Avid 5.8 MXLs. They're rugged. They last forever. Made in America. They're a little heavy, but not crazy. I can jig with one all day. They're a little bit pricey, but compared to some stuff, they're not. Great drag system on them. They got a lot of drag, and all the Avid 5.8 MXLs have a lever drag, a very smooth drag, decent reel handle that comes with it. You can get aftermarket, aluminum round knobs if you want for them. What they come with works fine. It's got a big rubber grip handle. I really like them. And we load them up with 50. Some of them we have 60 on, depending. We do that by the color of the reel so we know what's what. And obviously the rod we put it on. So if there's something that we're fishing for that's a little heavier, it's on a heavier rod with a little bit heavier line. So we even tarpon fish with these in the summertime around the sounds here in southeast coastal Georgia near the Florida line. Catch a lot of tarpon here, and that's my reel of choice because of the speed and because of the drag. And if to fight tarpon in deeper water like we do, it takes a minute to get them in. It's not a quick land. The water's got a lot of channels they fall into that can be 20 to 50 foot deep, even 80 foot deep. You need something with some backbone to work on that fish. So at any rate, but for grouper and snapper and other offshore bottom fish, this is definitely my favorite pick. So I just wanted to show you guys this in case you're interested in, or you may be gearing up, got a new boat, whatever, gearing up to buy some offshore bottom fishing tackle. It'd be a good reel for it. You could troll with it too, whatever you wanted to do. So let me show you what I have here, and I'll show you how I have mine rigged up and what rods I have them on at this time. Okay, and this is an Avid 5.8 MXL. Give you a good look at it here. It's got a lever drag. It's extremely smooth. You got a center and then all the way up to the bar. We keep it preset on about 13 pounds of drag approximately. The spool, the width of it is around 2¼ inches, I'd say. It's about 3 fingers width. It's fairly wide. It's very deep. It holds a ton of line. Wouldn't really matter what size braid you would use, 50 to 80. I mean, this holds tons of line. And I'll show you the plate side. That's what it looks like. They come with matched reel clamps. Now I have them in I have a set of gold, a set of silver, and green and red, I believe, on different rods. Now this setup here is my favorite, just general bottom fishing rod, snapper, grouper, whatever might bite, big trigger fish, things of that nature. So I'll show you what I have it on. You can't get these exact colored rods anymore because Ugly Stick changes their colors a lot. But I'll show you what I have this one on. But it's a 6.6 medium heavy 2050. Is what this one is. And I've also got some on 1540s just like this. And this is back when Ugly Stick was doing their big water rods with the red wrapping around the foul-proof guides. This is the era they were doing that, which is a couple years ago. They're now yellow again, which I don't like. But this took over the Ugly Stick custom rod series. This is what they did. Is they just called it the big water, and which had always been around, but they don't make the Ugly Stick custom anymore, which is pretty much the same blank anyways. But this is what it's on. So that's the setup, and of course we have what we have on this one. This one actually has 60-pound braid on it, and I have 15, 16, 18, something like that foot of 50-pound fluoro, and as you can see, there's a FG knot here. that we tied straight on to the 50-pound fluoro, of course. And this one I just have a loop in because I don't know what I'm going to fish with next. Oftentimes, most of our equipment has, if it's not pre-rigged, we'll just have a loop in it where we can unloop it off the reel handle and rig it how we want it. But for those of you who haven't seen an Abbott 5.8, just kind of showing you what it is. It's a nice reel. This one's 4 years old. And again, I take really good care of my equipment. So we wash these off with a rag and soap them, and you rinse them real well and then dry them and put them in the case. And they got nice cases. They're a little bit extra. They're not crazy expensive, but the cases are made, they make, certain size cases. Abbott does. This is an Abbott product that'll go over the reel. So we always keep those on because they will get scratched up when if you got them in rod racks and stuff, and they just beat against each other or whatever else, they'll get beat up. But it leaves the handle exposed. It also has, a lure hook on it, of course, or a lure loop, so you can hook your hook or whatever onto that, which we never ever use hardly. And I highly recommend Abbott's. I mean, I love them, and it's not just because they're made in the USA. Well, maybe it is a little bit, but I've always liked them. I've never had any problems out of them. You can send them back to get rebuilt for a small fee. If anything goes wrong with them, they don't want you going into them. They want you to send them in right away, and they'll decide, I guess, if you're at fault or whatever. But I've never had to send one back. We just keep them clean. You don't really do anything to them. Just take care of them. It's really all you have to do with an Abbott. I know that somebody's probably had problems out of one or two, I'm sure. But we fish them pretty hard. But we're careful with them as far as how we store them and how we clean them. But I just wanted to show you guys that Abbott 5.8 MXL. It's a great bottom fishing reel. Like I said, you can troll with it. We have trolled with them because they hold a ton of line. You can troll with them for kingfish, whatever you want. Most people would want a higher speed reel than a 5.8, which is basically 6-1. Most people would want, these days they'd want a 7-1 or 8-1 kingfish reel. Doesn't matter to me because we don't kingfish enough for that to be an issue. The only time that we fish for kings is when there's nothing else biting, and then we'll fish for whatever pelagics might bite. Trolling a bucktail, by the way, or a live bait, whatever we may run into out there. But normally we're bottom fishing, and that's a great grouper setup. Whatever rod you like. I mean, I like ugly sticks for the biggest reason: they don't break. I've never broken one my whole career of 32 years. I've never broken an ugly stick on a fish ever. Personally, I haven't. I know some people have, but that's why I have them. And I have some that are 15, 20 years old. The one I showed you isn't, but I have some that are. So I highly recommend ugly sticks, but they're just not pretty enough for some people because they got several actions you can get it in line classes and lure weights that you can get the ugly sticks in. And most people want custom rods these days, and I get that. But it's hard to beat these ugly sticks for $80. And this is no ugly stick commercial because I used to be sponsored by Ugly Stick and Shakespeare back in the day. I was using them before then though, but it's still to me the best rod you can buy off the shelf for custom rods. There's a local guy here. His name's Brian Liebelt, and he does he builds custom rods called Bandit custom rods. He's very scientific and he's very meticulous. So that's who I would go to if I wanted a custom rod. But off the shelf, it's just hard to beat an ugly stick. Pair it up with an Abbott, fish for whatever you want all day, every day, 365 days a year. So at any rate, I want to show you guys that. So short take. You guys have a good day. Fish on.